Hey guys, this is Jai Scribe from TourHarbinger.com, and today I'd like to go through the options that are in the preferences menu and just get some different tips and advice on how best to have everything set up. Um, Especially for some of you who are new to MMOs and just don't really know how to have things set up for the best quality of life within the game. I'll give you some advice. So here are the controls. We have the controls. Pretty self-explanatory, and you'll probably want the auto loot on right click, because otherwise you're gonna have to click loot, the loot button on every single box that pops up for loot. It's better just to right click on a monster and you get your loot. It's just gonna be a lot faster for you. Um, so definitely want that clicked. Enable area loot. I like this too. You loot one monster you've killed, and then all the other ones that are within a nearby radius will automatically be looted as well. This You may want this off if you want to look at everything that you loot, so you know what it is. But if you just want it fast, enable area loot is a great way to go. And you can always see what's new in your inventory whenever you get a chance. But so that's really more a personal preference, but it's a lot easier, especially in flashpoints. You don't have to go through every little thing. And then auto target closest enemy. Why not? There's enemy nearby. It's probably best to target it, right? You can still target it specifically, something else specifically if you wish to. So it's not really getting in the way of anything. Enable focus target. That's that's something that you may want to activate when you're starting to do flashpoints. When they start to get tougher, if you're like a caster especially. But I really wouldn't worry about that right away. Deselect target upon clicking on terrain. I like to have this on just so I can deselect things. It's just it's just a personal preference on my part. But sometimes you don't want to have something selected. You don't want to accidentally pull them up or something. So it's better just to be able to deselect things if you wish. Anyway. Ignore NPC during tab targeting. I accidentally turned this on, and I highly recommend that you don't. For a few hours, I was even taking a video of some heroics, and I could not figure out why the tab targeting would not work. So before every battle, it's this awkward pause before I start attacking, as I go and manually select the mob before I can attack it, and let's just say it's very inefficient to do it that way. I'm not even sure why this option is here. I'm not sure why you'd ever want to turn off tab targeting. I can't think of any reasons offhand. I'm sure there must be a reason. I can't think of it. So make sure this is off. It'll make your thing so much more difficult. And if you're new to MMOs, you're probably going to be a clicker anyway. So, which means you're actually taking the mouse and you're coming down here and you're pushing the buttons physically. So you're probably not even using your keyboard much yet, but you really need to learn it. As push one on the keyboard, bam, you're using flurry of bolts. 2 on the keyboard, bam, take cover. And you can change these, but make whatever key you want. But so what this means is that once you start using the keyboard, which you should, then you can push tab or whatever button you want to change in the key bindings. Then you push the button and it'll automatically select a nearby enemy. So it's just a fast way to get on target. And so it should always be unchecked. So yeah, and by the way, the key bindings right down here in this other tab down here. You can change those: target, quick slot, movement, all that stuff. It's all good stuff. But, so yeah, enable camera pivot. Yeah, that's all standard. And then okay, so the ability action queue window. This is basically how long ahead you can queue an ability up. So if I click an ability that has a cast time, like say it takes 3 seconds to cast, um, how far ahead can I cast or choose the next ability I'm going to cast? And I think it's better at 1 second. It's the highest it'll allow. Because you're sitting there casting anyway. You're waiting 3 seconds, you might as well have the next thing queued up. That's how I see it. Fly text, that's just the text that flies up. Like damage, that kind of stuff. That's all personal preference. I just leave it all on. It's always good to know. It's always good to know information. You can't have too much information. Sound, that's basic. Chat. So, you can have your chat channel. Well, let me shut that up. You can have it fade if it's not being used. Wait a few seconds, and if no new chats pops up, it'll fade out. And then you can filter profanity if you've got sensitive ears. That's good. Turn off the PvP chat, just like your Warzone chat, that kind of thing. General chat, trade chat. If you're not gonna trade nothing, no reason to listen to trade chat. Just taking up space in your chat window. General chat, it's good to leave on, at least until you make friends and get in a guild. After that, maybe not so much. There's a lot of idiots, and general chat will give you a good overview of how many idiots there truly are in the world. But we can set the alpha. Oh, apparently. Oh, one doesn't have focus. Okay. Oh, anyway, let's leave it there. And user interface. This is actually a really important one. Display subtitles for conversations. Right here. Because, yeah, Blipwire put a lot of effort into their voiceover, and it's great. It's fantastic. Best voice work I've seen in a game, or heard in a game. But sometimes, your mom or your significant other will bug you, and you won't be able to concentrate on the conversation, so it's best to be able to read it. Also, sometimes other players are doing things nearby, and unfortunately, Bioware does not have area sound effects. They're taking place nearby, fade out when you're in a conversation, so sometimes it'll obscure the actual conversation, and it'll be hard to make things out. I think that's something they should definitely fix. When you're actually in the conversation window and they're talking to you, you should be able to tune out the local ambience, I guess. But so definitely turn that on. This is not on by default. You will have to go turn this on. What else? I personally, is it here? Let's find out. Oh, and this way you can enable your different quick slot. There's your second row on the bottom. You got your left. You got your right. This is pretty standard if you've played other MMOs, but you may not have played other MMO. You may be a huge Bioware fan and love their single player games, and you may never have played an MMO. And that's what's great about the Old Republic. It's bringing in new players to the genre. It's the only game since World of Warcraft to do that. So we should never ever assume that the people you're playing with have played an MMO before. That's the graphics. Sometimes down here, your character portrait is. I found that sometimes it'll have a big pink box around it. And that's because your mesh level of detail is too low. I don't know whether that'll make it into the launch or not. Hopefully, it won't be a problem. But if you find your character portraits all messed up, just turn your mesh level of detail up to high, and it should fix it. Social. You can hide your head helmet. That's good. Allow access to same class story areas. Okay, so this is kind of important. If you're in a group, you and your friend happen to pick the same class, and you're kind of doing everything together, they can't go into a class storyline area with you by default. So if you want to kind of see what the other person's doing in their story, and just not just be sitting there waiting forever, then just click on allow access to same class story areas, and they can enter the story instance with you. They won't be able to affect the story. They can just watch, because that's your personal story. But at least they can go in. That was not in earlier builds of the beta, so that's based off player feedback. Automatically ignore group invites. If people just invite you for no reason, just out of the blue, you're getting really tired of it, click that on, and they won't go through to you. Same with guild invites. One neat option in the Old Republic is if you are grouped in a quest, afterwards, it gives you the option just to automatically friend them. That's kind of a neat little social thing. But you can turn that on or turn that off. I kind of like it on, personally. Make friends. Why else are you in a massively multiplayer game, right? I mean, it's the social aspect. Otherwise, go play single player. Legacy surname. Lately added a legacy system. That's probably something we're talking about another time. We're actually running out of time here. So we're going to have to cut this short, I think. But yeah, auto loot on right click, you want that. Enable area loot, you will probably want that. Auto target closest enemy, especially if you're new to MMOs, you're going to want that on. It'll just make combat a little easier for you. And deselect target upon clicking on terrain. That's kind of what you'd expect, really. Especially if you're like a real-time strategy player. Click the terrain, you deselect, right? I mean, that's what you do. And the ability action queue window. 1 second. Definitely. Otherwise, it's mostly just preference. Except, I turn on track missions by area. That way you don't have all your quests on the map if you're not even in that area. So, like here, right here, you have landing party, speak to Scavik. Well, you might have 20 quests. That's good to filter some of them out if those quests don't happen to be in the area you're currently in. So, track missions by area is great. Turn that on. So that's an important one. And of course, really important is display subtitles for conversations. You're here for the story, that's why you're playing. 90% of you. So don't miss nothing. Or don't miss anything. So, yeah, I did take English once upon a time. Alright, so, yeah, those are the important ones. Show invites as social messages. I wonder what that does. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what else I like to do? I like to click on use operation frames as party frames. Because if you're in a normal group, your party will have their health and their portrait and stuff up here, and they'll be big, just big, take up a lot of screen space. Where the raid frames, they're much smaller because you're supposed to have a lot more people in a raid. Well, an operation. So, there are a couple operations in this game, so might as well call them by the proper name. But so I clicked on them just because you get the same information. It's just more out of the way. I like to keep my UI as clean as possible. So that's about it. A lot of it's just personal preference, but those things that I brought up, I think, are make your life a lot easier. And so yeah, it's good stuff. And until next time, I guess. This has been Jai Scribe with Harbinger.com. I'll talk to you soon.